Welcome everybody to my first deck tech video. Now this is my vintage deck that I actually kept when I sold my collection 12 years ago. So this deck hasn't been updated in 12 years. Now this is completely vintage, but there's no Power 9 at all in it. I was poor back then. I couldn't afford Power 9. I can't afford Power 9 now because it's worth a lot more than it was back then. So there's no Power 9 in it at all. It's just, it's an infinite combo deck. But I used to do really well against Power 9. I used to be able to pretty much beat Power 9 about 90% of the time I played it back then. But I was able to, since I've been back, I did play some vintage games against the my local game store owner's Power 9 vintage deck. And he trounced me pretty good because of this little guy right here, or girl, whatever. Looks like a guy, but that's a girl's name. Maybe he's just confused. Yeah. Anyway, this card, we'll come back to that, but that card shut me down in his deck. Stupid little, not even dollar rare, I don't think. But how the deck works. This is the key to the whole deck right here. This is Enduring Renewal from Ice Age. This is my favorite card from Ice Age and any of the sets that came out anywhere near there. Pretty much anything after Legends and before Alliances, this is my favorite card from any of the sets. So I'll read it to you. It's play with the cards in your hand face up on the table. It's an enchantment for 2 white, 2 colorless. If you draw a creature card from your library, discard it. But whenever a creature goes to the graveyard from play, put that creature into your hand. Okay? So you can't draw any new creatures from your library once this is in play, and you have to play with your cards face up and from your hand. But every time a creature goes to the graveyard, you put it back to your hand for free. So with one of these little guys right here, an Ornithopter, every time the Ornithopter goes to the graveyard, it comes back to your hand, and then you can recast it for free. So the whole goal of the deck is to get that Enduring Renewal out while you have either an Ornithopter, or after the old Pithing Needle came out, I realized Ornithopter wouldn't be enough because all they had to do is Pithing Needle for 0, and I couldn't cast an Ornithopter. So luckily Darksteel came around with the good old Mire Moonvessel, and Mire Moonvessel, whenever he's put into a graveyard from play, you add 1 mana to your mana pool, and he only costs 1 to cast for a little 1/1 guy. So, once again, he goes to your graveyard, you get the 1 colorless, goes back to your hand, you now have 1 colorless in your mana pool to recast him. Then he goes to your graveyard, you get 1 colorless, he comes back to your hand, you cast him again. So, what does this infinite cycling of creatures do for you? Well, there's the win conditions. The win conditions, I have a few. I have a couple of creatures as a default. These aren't my main win conditions. These are the secondary win conditions. That is Disciple of the Vault for Mirrodin, a common. Whenever an artifact is put into graveyard from play, you may have target opponent lose 1 life. Obviously, this is a very secondary win condition because he has no way of sacrificing the artifacts himself. So, and you'll notice both my creatures were artifacts. So he's kind of just a secondary win condition. If I'm playing multiplayer, this helps really well. Carrion Feeder, however, is a first point win condition because you can sacrifice. He's just a 1/1 1-drop black that you can sacrifice a creature, put a 1/1 counter on him. So you can sacrifice this guy to make him, or you can sacrifice a Mire or an Ornithopter with the Enduring Renewal out, and you can do it infinitely and make them up to like a 2 billion if you wanted to, or 100 billion or 100 quadrillion, zillion, billion, fillion, whatever you feel like, and then send them over to attack. Obviously, it'd be nice to have Trample, so it's not my main win condition, because it may take a turn or 2, even if he's 2 billion power. My main win conditions were Blasting Station. It's an artifact from 5th Dawn, uncommon. Tap it to sacrifice a creature. Blasting Station deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Whenever a creature comes into play, you may untap Blasting Station. So, find our Ornithopter here. So you got the Ornithopter out, you got the Enduring Renewal out, and you got the Blasting Station out. You tap the Blasting Station, you sack the Ornithopter, which goes to your graveyard, but because the Enduring Renewal comes back to your hand. You dealt the 1 damage to the player. You then recast the Ornithopter, which untaps the Blasting Station, and lather, rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. Yeah, so that's my main win condition was the Blasting Station, or, and that's a 3-drop colorless, or the much faster one is the Grinding Station. Same concept, except this one's only a 2-drop colorless, and it's sacrifice an artifact. Target player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Whenever an artifact comes into play, you may untap Grinding Station. So, with this, either the Ornithopter or the Mire Moon Vessel, and the Enduring Renewal out. So, there's your infinite combo. That's what the deck is all about. That's my main win condition. So I have 4 of those. I have 3 of the Blasting Stations in here. And then I do have the 2 Carrion Feeders and the Disciple of the Vault. The Disciple of the Vault just makes it quicker in multiplayer because you can, while you're hitting the main target, you can also hit the secondary targets. I don't know, he probably doesn't need to be in there. He's kind of useless. But anyway, yeah, I haven't looked at this deck in 12 years except for the other night when I played a few games. So it needs to be completely rebuilt. But let me show you what I got, and then you guys can give me some tips or advice. Obviously, I have 4 of the Mire Moon Vessels, and I have 4 of the Ornithopters in here, because those, without those, not much you can do. I did have, there was another Mire that was a 3-drop, that whenever he went to the graveyard, you added 3 colorless mana to your mana pool, and I think he was a 3/3 or 2/2 or something. So I had him in there, but you know, it was just too much mana to get him out the first time, because the goal of this deck is to try and do this on the 3rd turn at the latest, at the very, very latest. That doesn't happen. That didn't happen the other night when I was playing, and I don't know if it's just because I was rusty on the mechanics or what, because I haven't played it in so long. So mana acceleration is key. Mana acceleration, I've got obviously 4 Dark Rituals, 2 Ice Age, or 3 Ice Age and a Tempest by the looks of it. So 4 Dark Rituals, I don't know why I put these in. I guess I just like the black borders. I had tons of Unlimiteds and Revised, and I probably even had some betas back then. But for some reason I put those in here. Got a Mana Vault, a Soul Ring, a Lotus Petal, a Mox Diamond. At the time, these were all restricted to 1, so I'm not sure if they're still restricted to 1 or not. And an original Mana Crypt from the book. I did actually read that book to get this card. Yes, the entire book. It's alright. Yes, it's okay. So, anyway, I had the Nathali Dragon or whatever, too, that you got from it, but he went with the collection. I actually think I had a couple Mana Crypts, because I think I got some in trades, too. But this is an OG original. I don't know that I ever played it without a sleeve, but I think I got it. Oh, who knows? No, I guess it's fairly minty. There's a little thing on the corner here. But yeah, original book Mana Crypt in there. I've never actually had to flip a coin because once this guy goes out, it's usually game over. So for lands, I had 2 of each of the basic lands, just in case I was playing a Blood Moon, because pretty much you need at least 2 plains and a swamp, preferably 2 plains and 2 swamps out. But 2 plains and a swamp usually is the game winner. So if I don't have any of the other stuff out, any of the artifacts, that'll help. So I had 2 of each, just in case I was up against somebody that had anything that would do away with non-basic lands, Blood Moons or whatever. Of course, they're all foily. What's that? Kamigawa, Onslaught, and Odyssey. And then I had 3 Godless Shrines. Guess we'll stack them up here. 3 Godless Shrines, the originals from Guild Pack. I think there's a Guild Pack logo. So 3 of the Godless Shrines, and then I had several fetch lands that would let me go get either a plains or a swamp. Now, the only time it mattered whether it was a plant or a swamp was when I was playing somebody with a blood moon, because I had to go get the actual basic lands, but you'll see what I would actually go for in here later. So, Windswept Heath, there's a Bloodstained Mire, another Bloodstained Mire, Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, a foil, original Bloodstained Mire. Yeah, these are all original onslaughts, by the way. So that one's a foil one. Probably don't see too many of those out there. And then a Caracas, just in case somebody had a legendary anything that was causing me problems. I think they've changed the wordings on this since. I don't know. I'll have to check into it. I don't know if it's as effective as it used to be. I'm not sure if it'll work on Planeswalkers. I'll have to check. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. Will that work on Planeswalkers and anything else legendary now? I heard somebody told me that the wording had been changed on it. For those of you that don't know, Caracas, it's a Legends rare land that you add 1 white to your mana pool, or you could tap it to return target legend to owner's hand. Enchantments on target legends are destroyed. So, then I had a Glimmer Void from Mirrodin, original Mirrodin one. At the end of your turn, if you control no artifacts, sacrifice Glimmer Void. Not much of a problem in this deck unless somebody Shatterstorm me. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And then here was our actual lands we would go after. These are all revised scrub lands. These are the only dual lands I kept when I sold my collection. I am kicking myself very, very hard now because I did not keep all my dual lands. I had, I think, 3 playsets of scrub lands and at least like 2 playsets of the others, and a lot of them were unlimited and even a couple betas, I think. So yeah, kind of kicking myself this day and age for not keeping all that. So I guess we'll put in order there. All right. So now getting the Enduring Renewal, getting the Grinding Station, and getting one of the critters, because having all 3 in your opening hand would be pretty much a second turn win, possibly a first turn with the right combination of mana acceleration. It is possible to do a first turn win with this one, but not very easy. All right, I had 2 Academy Rectors in here. These are the original Urza's Destiny, right? Yeah, Legacy was the hammer, Saga was the 2 gears, so I think this was Destiny. When Academy Rector is put into a graveyard from play, you may remove Academy Rector from the game. If you do, search your library for an enchantment card and put it into play, then shuffle your library. So you don't actually need an Enduring Renewal in your opening hand to be able to win the game on the first turn. You just need an Academy Rector in your hand, then you can actually put the Enduring Renewal into play. So that's how you get away with just having 1 planes at the beginning. So other things we had was tutors, because it's black. And we got a Ristic Tutor. This was last case scenario tutor. Unless any player plays 2 colorless mana, search your library for a card, put a card into your hand, then shuffle your library. We had a Vampiric Tutor. This was a 6th edition one. I had the original one. I think I had the original, I think was it Portal? And then I also had the original Visions. I'm not sure what happened to those. Anyway, I think it was Visions that was reprinted in. Search your library for a card, then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. You lose 2 life. Not my favorite one because, you know, without card draw in black and white back in the day, this was, you know, kind of slowed me down a turn. Enlightened Tutor, search your library for an artifact or enchantment card, reveal that card to all players, shuffle your library and put the revealed card back on top of it. Much cheaper, doesn't cost you life, but again, it puts it on top of the deck. It doesn't put it in your hand. Diabolic Tutor, foil one, original Odyssey foil Diabolic. Search your library for a card and put that card in your hand, then shuffle your library, but very expensive, 2 black, 2 colorless. Another one that was not foil, and then an unlimited Demonic Tutor, original, the OG. You may search your library for 1 card, take it into your hand, and reshuffle your library afterwards. The wording was changed on this in revised, I believe. So, but that's that was the main one. But they were restricted. I could only run 1 in the deck. I wish I could have run 4 because that. Before it was restricted, I actually built this deck before the restricted list came out, I think. Or before this one was restricted at least. And I originally had 4 in the deck, and the deck was almost always a second or third turn win. And then demonic consultation, just in case you're really in need of one of the pieces of the puzzle there. So, because demonic consultation, half the time you kill yourself instead of actually getting the combo out. But you know, gotta make sacrifices in life. All right, so my sideboard, I had a nice Whisper in there. Probably should have main deck a few of those. Probably would have been smarter to get some card drawing in there so I could get into the combo a little faster if I didn't draw into it right off the bat. But, you know, most of the time I would draw into the combo because I had a lot of the combo ready to go in the deck. And I could mulligan a couple times and usually, even with like 5 cards, I could usually still pull off a second turn win with the right cards. So, another Disciple of the Vault. An Arena of the Ancients. This is the Chronicles version. I had the Legends version, so I don't know why I put the Chronicle one in here. Chronicles one. But tap all Legends. Legends do not untap during the controller's untap phase. Just as sideboard thing, just in case. An extra Diabolic Tutor, just in case. Pithing Needle, just in case somebody was casting something that was causing me problems. And Swords to Plowshares for removal. A couple of revised swords there. And some original, whoop, sticking together. Yeah, these sleeves are falling apart on me. They're really cool sleeves, but they're falling apart on me, so I'm going to have to re-sleeve the whole thing. 3 of the original Apocalypse Vindicates. Destroy target permanent for 1 black, 1 white, and 1 colorless. I guess I put it in front of the camera. You guys can actually see this stuff, right? Let me see if I can get it closer. There you go. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It looks like they've reprinted that one a bunch of times. I got 4 Disenchants as well. 3 Tempest and 1 Ice Age one. So, not sure why I use those. I think I had unlimited and beta Disenchants too, but who knows? I probably had them in other decks back then because I had a ton of decks back when I sold my collection. So that's my deck. That's the idea. I know there's a lot of newer cards that would help this, and I can probably make this a lot faster and a lot more effective now. So give me some tips in the comments. Help me redesign this thing. I've got some ideas on my own, but I do have to de-sleeve and re-sleeve the whole thing because the sleeves are all falling apart on me there, and I need to upgrade it because Lavinia shut me down completely. So if you're not familiar with the card, it's from Ravnica Allegiance. And it's each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. Well, 99% of the time when I cast Enduring Renewal, I do not have 4 lands on the board. I only have 2 or 3. So, whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. Well, there goes my Ornithopter. Jeez. So, yeah, this little critter was shutting me down pretty hard in my LGS owner's Power 9 vintage deck. So, yeah, that card puts a major thorn in my side. I did not sideboard at all. I just wanted to see kind of how the deck would do without actually going to the sideboard. I think I'm gonna have to put 4 swords in here in the main deck, just in case, because there's so many, you know, so many planeswalkers and so many creatures now that are so powerful in the game with their abilities that I think having a lot more control and removal would be a really good aspect for the deck. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think probably the 2 things I'm going to need to add in here the most are the Swords to Plowshares, well, some kind of removal, and the probably some card drawing. A little more card drawing capability now that black has a little more drawing capability to it. There was really not a lot of card drawing back then. I think Night's Whisper was one of the very few black cards that would let you draw without some major, you're about to throw the game up consequences, you know. So, and then tutoring. Is there any new tutors that are at least close to as effective as the demonic tutor? And I think they reprinted demonic tutor. So is it still restricted? That's another good question. So let me know. I'm just not sure if like the Mox Diamond and the Lotus Petals are still restricted or anything. So, you know, the Mox Diamond, I would throw out a fetch land, and because you know the fetch land was just going to go get a land I needed with color in it anyway. So with the Mox Diamond and a Lotus Petal on the first turn, and then like either a Soul Ring or a Dark Writ, or a Mana Vault, you know, or two Dark Writs, you know, any kind of combination of this mana acceleration, even without Power 9, without Lotuses, without actual original Moxes. Uh, you know, I got the Mana Crypt too, so any combination of like probably two of these or three of these cards in my opening hand, along with the combo, the Grinding Station, the Enduring Renewal, and an Ornithopter, was pretty much a first or second turn win. So any more mana acceleration I can put in here to be able to drop a infinite combo on the first turn would be awesome. It's possible I might be able to make this Legacy if I can solve the tutoring problem, because Legacy doesn't allow the Demonic Tutor, I don't believe, at all. I'm not sure about some of the other cards. I don't think the Mana Crypt's legal in Legacy either. I have to look. I'm not sure about the restricted lists and stuff. I haven't really had time to break into this. I've been too busy trying to get content up and open boxes and check out all the new sets and check out some new decks and all that. So I haven't had time really to kind of really get into the vintage stuff to try and rebuild this deck yet, but I want to get this video up there and start getting some advice and see what people leave as far as comments as to what you think I should add in here, or what would help speed this up a little bit. Is there something as effective as the stations, but a little faster drops now? Let me know. I'm sure there's some cards with abilities that are probably a little more, you know, effective in this deck than what I've got in here. So let me know. Let me know what you think I should do with it. What would help improve it. I don't want to change the basic concept, you know. I don't want to, obviously the Enduring Renewal with the Ornithopter and the Moon Vessel. That's kind of the basic gist of the deck. I just need to kind of see if I can find ways to speed it up a little bit and make it to where it'll hang with some of the newer vintage decks. So let me know what you think. I would love any advice you think would be pertinent to the deck, and any other cool combos. I love infinite combos. As you can tell, this is the I kept two decks. This is one of the main ones. The other one was just a cheap angel and vampire deck, flying beasts. But this one has always been my favorite deck. I always love this concept. Just it pisses people off so bad when you just start sacking this Ornithopter a million times in a row to kill them, or grind them down to nothing in their library. So it's just entertaining for me. I've got some other pretty annoying decks that I sold with my collection, but I'm working on rebuilding them. We'll go over that in other videos. I plan to do a lot more of these deck tech type videos. And as I get back into it, I'll be able to give a lot more advice than asking for advice. So I appreciate you all watching this, and hopefully you'll give me a hand with figuring out what to do with this thing, and I can rebuild it and make it stronger, make it faster. We have the technology. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, and every comment hugely appreciated. So comment what you think I should do with it, or what I should add in there, or anything you think I should look at. So let me know. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.